welcome to another episode of the Blue Screen Brothers on YouTube, or like we could call it on tapes.
Backup tapes or beta tapes?
Beta tapes, Betamax tapes.
Betamax tapes, right.
We are considering Laserdiscs for the next release. So today we have Alexander and Marius. Hi guys.
Hi.
Bonjour.
We were thinking about doing some just for fun, nothing deep dive, but something for fun, necessary tools that you should have installed. And Marius, maybe if you have a good tool, maybe you should remember to update them every now and then.
Yes, because I just did, and I found some new PowerToys features.
Yeah, so we are going to talk about PowerToys, Alexander.
Yes, that's ever since Windows 95 and later on, you had the option of having the core operating system, and then they've always sold you an upgrade pack, an expansion pack, or media kit or something. I remember I had Windows XP and I bought one of those media creation update kits where you got some extra animations in the Windows Media Player and all those fancy stuff. But ever since around Windows 7, it's kind of disappeared more. So if you need some extensions, something fun, something cool, you need to have third parties or plugins. But Microsoft now have started launching a lot of those features in something called PowerToys. And by and large, what is PowerToys?
Good question.
Good question. Yeah.
No, it's a set of, many different useful tools, essentially. Just like small tools in a package of them.
And many of these should practically and technically be combined within the operating system itself, in my opinion, like PowerRename, PowerRun. Those are features that are so interesting and so helpful in if you have 300 files that you need to batch rename. Using PowerRename is something that you formerly had to use PowerShell to do, but now you can just do a GUI plugin add-in with the PowerToys.
Very useful.
Very useful.
Especially for the ones that, doesn't know PowerShell or other tools for scripting.
Yeah. But what's the favorite tool for you then, Alexander?
For me, definitely one of the later versions have come into mind, and that is the text extractor. So what it does is that every now and then I stumble upon either a picture from Microsoft or documentation where it's not text, it's a picture or static, something you cannot copy. And you want to add that as a note, but you don't want that as a picture. So adding it to OneNote would be an option, but instead you just take a OCR capture of a picture on your device. So let me share one of my monitors here, and if we're lucky, we're going to see our Blue Screen Brothers YouTube site. Do we see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what we do is that we would like to extract some of the information in the picture here. It might be a little bit too small of a font, but we press Windows, Shift, and T for text, and we just select the text we would like to extract. And we're going to figure out if the font was big enough. And you can see that we just import everything right away. And it even did take the B inside the QR code first. So cool. This is a very, very fast way of simply extracting text from anywhere, either a website or...
I think actually it took our glasses as a B.
Yeah. Nothing's better than that.
but this is actually quite useful because a lot of time you are in a online setting and somebody shows you something on the screen with a link to something that you want or should have. So then you can actually just take this. Either you can take a print screen and do it later, or you can just hit the Start, Shift, and T, wasn't it? So, and then you have copy and paste of the shortcuts they are showing you that you cannot push yourself. So that's actually quite nice to have when you're just sitting there and and watching something, and I need to take a note of that. So.
And all of a sudden here you saw I did the same thing for the URL here, and it added the NO from YouTube.
Yeah.
So you kind of do get the gist of everything that you're showing around. And if you have updated the PowerToy, make sure that you have text extractor enabled, and you can create your own hotkey, but Windows Shift T is the default hotkey.
Yeah. You can also see there, if you go up to the Power Tools and the general, you can see that you have a check for updates and you have download updates automatically. So that's a hot tip for you, Marius. You can upload it automatically.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
And I have a feature request for the PowerToys guys. That is a Visio Extractor.
Visual Extractor.
Yeah, I always see pictures of different like architectural drawings and things like that, and just the same thing. Just get a Visio from a picture, like a reverse conversion. That would be awesome.
Yeah. So I used diagrams a lot, or draw.io. That was the old name to find the cool icons, because you have actually better icons in draw.io or diagrams. That's the new name of it, than you have in Visual. So if you
absolutely. I usually use Lucidchart, and it's a lot better.
Yeah,
it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I use the whiteboard built in the operating system, and my pen. That's always the best. Yeah.
Let's have a fight about that.
Yeah, let's not have a fight. But are there any favorite PowerToys you use, Marius? We already know that you don't have the latest features until the last 20 minutes ago, but
exactly. So for me it's Fancy Zones. I guess it's all since you learned me to use the hover, the like the full screen button to be able to.
That you have the new to add them to different places instead.
Yeah,
so it's
all the
easier
things
now.
I discovered that I actually use Fancy Zones a bit less, but it's very useful to be able to stack my windows in a way that I want on my super ultra widescreen, because having like this kind of monitor that you would usually have 3 monitors to do, but Windows doesn't understand anything, so it just says this is one huge monitor. And being able to do things like this and actually have focus areas, stack my calendar on one side, or things like that I usually do, is very, very useful.
Yeah. And now it's actually much better to remember the placement of the applications. When you are rebooting your PC or restarting your PC, it will start in the same place.
Yeah.
So and I saw you did some demonstration while we were talking, Alexander. If you can start it up again, I will just tell you my favorite part in the Fancy Zones.
Yeah.
Because if you create a custom one, create a new layout.
Let's call this one Demolav.
And the canvas. The canvas is my favorite, actually, because with canvas, you don't have to have them split around the screen. You can have them a little bit on top of each other. So on my screen, I have 2 web browsers windows, and I have my Slack channel, my team channel, and other minor application that could be partially hidden behind the bigger windows. But I can still just point and click on them, so it's easier to get them out like you are doing now. So you can actually use a smaller screen with much more content, and it's still available, because on your Slack channel or your Teams channel or your mail, you just need to see parts of it all the time, and you just click on it if you want to see more.
This could be an interesting Microsoft certification question. You have a 24-inch monitor. How many smaller canvas windows can you add without?
Yeah.
This is the one I use, and because I have 3 columns of have with a full like this priority grid type. But then I have added 2 on top of those again that are sort of smaller as focus areas. So I can because I hate virtual desktops. For some reason I never got used to using it.
Why not?
I think that works great.
It kind of works, but it's always a desktop and there's another desktop, and where did I leave on the other one? So
but it's much better now than it used to be, the virtual desktop, because in the old days you couldn't see what was running on the other desktop before you went over to them, but now you will actually see everything running, and you will see a different color, I think it is, that highlight that this is a different virtual desktop. So it's more usable, but it's actually better with having fancy zones and easier hiding stuff.
So I see, Alex, that you don't have the use non-primary mouse button to toggle zone activation enabled. I think that's a very useful feature, where you can simply, when you drag a window around and just click the right button, then you enable the zones. Rather than clicking shift.
I have one of the old PS2. I have one of the old PS2 connected mouse. I don't have a scroller on mine, so I only have right and left click. So
but that's the right click, a non-primary mouse button.
So if you take the right click when you are moving it, you can suddenly drop it. That's good tips, actually. I was not aware of that one. So even you that are using old PowerToys know more than me that's using the new one.
The fun part that maybe we should save for later in the video, but I can't hold myself. If you click on the link on top of each PowerToy, you just select that one, you go directly to the Microsoft Docs for that product. And some of them have very, very nice animations and tips providing you with information on how you can use them better. So the documentation for, here's one of the animations, as you can see, how you can use the tools easier. And one of the best guides is the one for PowerRun. So just how it uses and the file rename, the batch rename, what was it called? PowerRename. They have a very, very good animated explanation for how you use it, and they show you the effects and how you can undo and all those kind of things. So the best documented product Microsoft have is the PowerToys tools.
Cool.
Related to what we were talking about, and also related almost to the activation shortcut you used, when you have a lot of fancy zones, it could actually be nice to have something always on top.
And then you have always on top is nice.
And you can see that's Windows Control T instead of Windows Shift T to activate that shortcut.
That's not confusing at all.
No,
so that's
PowerToys should have like a shortcut to get a list of all the shortcuts, but I guess they already have that.
You mean a shortcut guide or something like that?
I have a pro tip here. Why don't we use the power button with a combination of something? Just press and hold the power button and see what happens.
Especially me that's recording this, right? So
yes. No, so you have the shortcut guide, which is actually quite interesting to use, because it doesn't combine all the shortcuts you have, only the most used and default ones in Windows. But
why doesn't it contain the PowerToys shortcuts?
Actually funny. It's actually so good that it shows a shortcut to all my application on the toolbar, but it
and there is one drawback with this plugin as well, because it only shows you the hints and shortcut tips on your primary monitor, not the monitor that you're working at.
But
you, Olav, what is your favorite fancy, not fancy zone, PowerToy.
You should never have favorite children, or you should never have favorite tools. So I use a lot of different of the tools, but I really like the fancy zones. I'm using fancy zones the most, but image resizer could be nice if you have a larger library that you are going to export to use to do stuff like, for instance, get the library outside on your blog or something like that. So it could be nice to easily resize. So yeah, color picker is actually something I use every now and then when I need to get the color information of a certain weird color. Then it's easy to have it because I use Snagit as one of my other tools. That's not a free tool, but I use it a lot. So then I need to get color of something, and then you can just use the color picker and it will give you the color code.
Did you know that there's different type of blue in the button icon here? That's 0061B9, but the toggle have a different blue color?
Yeah, of course. Everybody knew that.
Everybody knew that. All right, it was just me then. Yeah.
Any other tools that we should mention?
I haven't tried the video conference mute thing yet.
Yeah, I think it might be useful, but I haven't gotten to use it in any situation yet.
It's very useful, but it depends on what kind of video conference tool you use, because this is an operating system-wide feature. And if you use Microsoft Teams, you have hotkeys to do that in Microsoft Teams for most of these actions.
Yeah, so it's just like the live captation, right? The live captation video we did, that you actually have live captation in Teams that have more language packs than the built-in in the operating system. But operating system will always be independent, like the color picker. Then you can use it everywhere. Snagit have its own color picker, but this is globally available. So
one of the tools that I don't use that often, but I should, is the PowerToys Run. This is something that I think someone got an idea from Apple with the Alfred feature. And here you can implement a lot of sub-applets within the PowerToys Run. So one of the cool thing here is that you just press Alt-Space and you see there's a start typing feature. And since we had calculator as one of them here on top, just take, say, 6 minus 3. And you can see here it should be adding it.
You already did it. It's 3.
Yeah, 6 minus 2 then. 6 minus
4.
5. So you can see the result is being added there directly. And the same goes for folders where you can do the navigation. There are some services here where you can just go and see print, the print spooler. So you can add some of the Microsoft services and do tasks on them directly from just Alt-Space combination. So taking a look into that, maybe there's a Visual Studio Code Workplaces integration. If you take a deeper look, you might find that weird thing for Visio there.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, I think we have done most of the interesting tools, and I guess there will always be new ones, or you might have a favorite tool that we don't.
And Olav died.
Yes, I think he tried out that weird hotkey combination for the video conference mute.
Yeah, break the network.
That might be one of them. But as a minor tip, I really enjoy that every PowerToy has a URL for the Microsoft Learn where you can see an animation of the feature. So even for that PowerToys Run utility, you can see a lot of cool demonstrations.
Absolutely. It's right now I'm testing out the unit converter. I didn't know that it had that, because that's what things I do quite often. just things like converting between currencies and things like that. Just how many Norwegian kroner is some amount of dollars or something like that. So which button did you click, Olav?
I actually had to add on my wireless headset because my neighbor started to drill. So I tried to connect to that one, and I saw everything, and suddenly I died.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know why it disconnected actually. So it must be something with a headset. So
he was using his power toy.
Yeah, he was using his power toy. Yeah. So, but did you get that I talked about the mouse utilities? For instance, if you have multiple screens, you can double click on the left control button, and you can see where your mouse pointer are, and that's really nice when you have
click it twice. And
yeah. So if you have 2 or 3 screens, that's a nice way to figure out where your mice are, so you don't have to buy a new one.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I think we have a wrap, or what do you say?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think that was a good run. And we even got to test your new headset, and Marius got to update his PowerToys. So what's left for me now then?
Yeah, it's one of your insider building is going to Neil or something like that. So, yeah, but we will say thank you for this time, and we will try to make it a more technical session the next time. But I think it's always place for something cool tools. So if anybody that saw this video have a tool they want to highlight, just give us a shout.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.